Today we're talking about this one, the one with the fractures. It was the one of the easiest parts. So let's hop on a new project. We don't need this one. Let's move this piece. Let's hop on our project. It was our jumping guy. Let's upload it. Let's group the animation. Let's make it a bit bigger. Up. We see the landing. At first, I think we should make our fracture, and after the fracture, let's make it like 10. Maybe let's make a bigger one. Let's fit in our legs, something like this. Like this. Yep. Let's hide the work plane, axis, horizon. Let's save our piece. Let's start with the fracture part. Let's drop it over here. Let's add some more points, something like that. Now let's make some custom points. I think we should add a sphere. Something like that, maybe smaller. Let's add some segments. Drop our sphere over here. Let's see how it looks as a surface. Maybe add some more pieces and go back to volume. Add even more pieces so they are sort of small ones. Maybe let's copy this sphere, make it bigger or even smaller, like this. Drop it over here again, make it as volume, and now let's see what feeling do we want to get. Maybe something like this, and maybe let's add a bit more points over here. Something steady. Of course, you can change it to whatever object you want, but for this one I think we should stick with a sphere. Yeah, that looks better. Maybe let's add something bigger, so there will be big amount of small ones, and maybe let's reduce the amount over here and make this maybe bigger. And now maybe let's reduce the amount over here, so the bigger parts are here. Now they're smaller, and it's a small parts over here. So yeah, let's save it. Let's hide our pieces. Now let's add another sphere. Let's fit it over here. Let's add a bit more segments. Octa, something like this. Let's fit how it should look. Maybe let's add some radius. And the idea is to make a simple simulation. Let's make a quick animation. Whoop. Something like this. Let's have a look. Let's make it linear. Let's make this one linear too. I think we can start earlier, like this. Let's move it a bit back. Test it again. Maybe let's do it a bit earlier. So yeah, let's drop a plane -10. Let's make it bigger, something like this, so it sticks over here. Let's save it again. Let's make our plane a collider body. Let it be trigger on a collision. It would be static mesh. We don't need bounce. Let's zero out friction. Let's add a tag on our sphere. Trigger on collision. Let it be moving mesh. Let it bounce something like 20. Friction to something like 70. The only thing I want to do is to make the collision and to get this effect. Like you see, we're getting this collision, and I'm turning off the collider object and it all goes up. So I want to maybe $65. Let's test it. Yeah, let's enable it here and disable it here. We'll test it all. Let's hide it too. Now let's add a simulation tag over here. It would be a rigid body. On collision, bounce, friction, shape. Let's stick it with static. And let's give it a quick test. Yep. On collision, let's bring it to immediately. Yep. And here, let's have a look. On collision, automatically. Now we're getting that feeling. We need a bit more bounce, something bigger, and friction. I think we can go to 150. Make a test. Now I want to add a connector. Maybe let's stick with the original one. Yep, it's getting better. Now let's make it really low. Give it a try. Oops. It's too low, I think. Now maybe something like this. Yep, it's getting better. Maybe let's add a bit more attributes to our connector. Yep. Let's bring our thing lower to something like this. Jump over here, drop a bounce to something higher, remove friction. And maybe add a radius. Now we're getting something interesting. We're getting that bouncy feeling. I want to remove it to standard. Maybe we can play with the steps. Let's have a look at our dynamics. Expert steps. Maybe let's add a bit more steps. Test it. Yep, now connector must be doubled. Now we can go something higher, and we'll play with the bounce settings. Yep, now we don't need such a big amount of bounce. And also I'm thinking to add more to our little one. Give it a go. Let's remove friction to like 50. I think we can lower it. Let's do it 10. Now we have that small jumping effect. Also, let's test this one by bringing it up. Yep. And now we can bring our cube to something like this and give it a go. Or even lower, something like this, so we don't see the legs. And now let's remove such a big amount, add more bounce. Yep, we're starting to get that feeling. Also, I think we can lower this one, and we can lower this one. And test it all on our standard steps. And I think we can remove our collider tag a bit earlier. So we see only this ground object. Let's give it a go again. I'm thinking of adding another collider over here. To add plane higher, and then this one higher. Copy the parameters and maybe add some bounce. Something like 50 and 20. Let's test it. Yep. Now we have those rocks. It's more interesting to me. Now maybe let's experiment with this one. What do we have? First of all, let's save it. Always save it all. Yep. Now we're getting that bouncy landing. Oops. I think we don't need such a big amount of bounce. 20 would be enough, and something like this, and bring it back. And now I feel like I want to bring it all back. Even higher, something like 80 or even 70. It starts wobbling, so yeah, got to be lower. Let's bring the connector back, since we have removed our steps back. Now we see the real landing. And I feel we can add bigger points, or even reduce them. Let's see. They're sliding. We need more friction. It looks unnatural. Maybe 90 or even 5 in the bounce. Yep. That's already looks cool. So let's make our particles. I'll copy our guy, drop him in a new project, copy him over here. Let's add a standard emitter. Let's make it cone 90 degree. Let's rotate it. Let's put it on our boy's place, something like that. So the whole simulation, let's tweak it to something like that. It starts from 52, I guess. Start at 52, and usually 3 or 2.5 frames is more than enough. Let's stick it with 54.5. Lifetime something like 15 or 10. Speed, how it looked. Would add some stuff. Speed would be bigger. Lifetime looks like it's not enough. Emission, let's do it higher. Yep. Something like this. Maybe we can make him smaller. Maybe we can add even more. Add maybe a bit of a variation to speed. So it would look. Maybe we can make it faster. Something like that. Does it look organic or what? I feel like it needs more speed. Maybe something in the middle. Yeah. That will be good for me. So I copy this thing, I bring it back to our project. Let's hop it higher. Let's save it. Let's make a quick cache. Just a super quick one. And add some smoke. So yeah, let's get back. Let's see where we want it. Want it higher. That means we want to start at 49 or even 50 and stop it by 52.5. Yeah, that would be enough. Enough. Let's save it again. Hop on the first frame. Whoops. Let's add our container. We need it over here. We don't need a big one. Something wide. Something like this, or maybe even like this. Let's make a new folder for our simulation. Let's stick with 2 since we're just testing. So I want to start it from 38. I want to press solver Whoops. I want to add steps. Maybe we can close the bottom, but I think we'll just add a collision object over here. It would be our bottom. Vorticity, let's stick it with 10. Let's add just a bit of turbulence, maybe from 2 to 6. Temperature, density, 9 frames. We had 20 frames of lifetime, so 10 frames would be enough. Now let's add a turbulence of the emitter. Let's test it without a fill object, and then we'll test it with a fill object. Let's make a bigger radius. Velocity weight something bigger. 1 and 3. My standard settings. Maybe we can add, whoops. Okay. Bigger from the very beginning. Bigger radius, velocity weight, 1, 3. Right on the pop from something like here. And let's zero it out. Just for a quick preview, let's save it. Go to our simulation tab. Hop on the preview. They're pretty big in the beginning since we made our age pretty big, like from the very start. That was the idea. Maybe we can remove the gravity. Smoke leaves 10 frames. Yeah, so I think we can stick with the original gravity. It will die before it will get to the top. So yeah, let's stop it. Let's test it with a fill object and maybe let's reduce it to 1. Give it a go. Oops, I forgot. To renew our fracture. Also, I recommend when our guy is in a sitting pose to convert him to an object and make him a collider object and hide him, so rocks won't hit him. Yeah, not looking pretty good. The bigger amount looks interesting. Let's bring it back. Let's resimulate it. Oops, forgot again. Always forgetting about it. Also, I think we can add more variation to our speed, something like 30. Maybe change the angle a bit, something like 87, 88, or even 92. Let's test it with 88. And let's add lifetime variation. Let's bring it back. Yep, now I sort of flying in different directions. But it's all about your feeling, what you wanna achieve in the end. I'll stick with the original one, since you know Shockwave is a Shockwave. Like millions of tutorials on how to make it. People think that they're hard to be done, but that's another story. Maybe we can reduce it by 2. It feels like they're super big. Let's remove it to 2 and remove the fill object. Oops. Always forgetting. Yep, and the small one, they're getting bigger, bigger. Small trails from our collider. And by the end, they will just pop. Super simple scene. Super fast, super simple. It was pretty fast. Now let's close it. Save it. Maybe you guys want to have a quick look. Let's hit a quick preset. That's my personal for something quick. Let's add. Let's stick it with just an image texture. It's black. Let's add a simple environment, something like this. Hop on a preview. And see what we got. Let's hop on our tag. Let's remove our emission. We don't need it at all. Let's do it something like this. Now we're getting our smoke. Something like this. Maybe lower, but better view. Something super steady. Maybe you guys want to add some details to our fractures, noise the surface. You can stick with the original one, remove a bit of a scale. Now you can see there's tons of noise. Maybe you can go to something like FBM. Now you see the rocks are colliding pretty good. Maybe you want to add some light. Test it with the light. Let's make a small rotation. Hop on over here. See what we got. Maybe add a material. Whoops. Create octane material. Drop it to our fracture. Of course, if you want to colorize your fractures by selections, you can add outside faces and inside faces and color them as you want. Let's make it darker. Let it be outside faces. Let's save it. Let's restart it. So yeah, you got the point. It's pretty easy. It's a super fast scene, pretty easy. We can rotate it a bit. With our cracks, debris, light materials, something like that. I think you got the point, guys. Of course, you can make it darker. All about the feeling. So yeah, see you in the next one.